Early in the afternoon on July 27, 1981, Adam entered a Sears department store with his mother, Reeve. She allowed him to watch a group of older boys play video games in the toy department while she shopped nearby. 10 minutes later, when she returned for him, he was gone. Investigators learned that a teenage security guard had asked the older children to leave because they were causing trouble. Adam reportedly was a timid child who might have been afraid to speak up and followed one of the older boys out. He was likely kidnapped outside the store after the older boys left. Adam's parents launched a massive hunt for their son.
Literally thousands of posters just like these are being distributed all over Florida.
We'd appreciate anyone with any information about him or have seen him or think they saw him to please call the Hollywood police.
I am prepared to offer a substantial reward for any information leading to the safe giving up of Adam. And to any of the people out there that might be holding Adam, we are prepared to negotiate ourselves with them for a safe release of Adam.
However, on August 10, 1981, his severed head was discovered by two fishermen in a drainage canal in Vero Beach, Florida, some 100 miles away from Hollywood. His body was never found.
I had a happier ending.
Adam evidently was too good for this world. He was much greater than this world.
I don't know who would do this to a 6-year-old child. I can't conceive of it. It's beyond the realm of...
In October 1983, Otis Elwood Tully, then an inmate at Rayford, Florida prison, confessed to Adam's abduction and murder, and also implicated serial killer Henry Lee Lucas in the crime. However, investigators soon discovered that Lucas couldn't have been involved because he was in jail in Virginia when Adam was kidnapped. Tully then admitted he had carried out the crime on his own, and police announced they had found Adam's killer. However, investigators were unable to locate Adam's body, where Tully claimed to have buried it, and without any physical evidence, the Florida State Attorney couldn't prosecute the case.
This person is fully capable of doing it again.
Several months later, Tully recanted his confession. In the years that followed, Tully repeatedly confessed to killing Adam Walsh, and then took back his story. He died of liver infection and AIDS in 1996 in Florida prison, where he was on death row for another murder. Years later, serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, who was living in Florida at the time of Adam's abduction, was considered a possible suspect in the case. Jeffrey died in a Wisconsin prison in 1994. On December 6, 2008, the police department in Hollywood, Florida announced that the case against Tully was strong enough to close the investigation of Adam's death.
To apologize for investigative mistakes that transpired during the early years of this investigation. Although I was not a member of the Hollywood Police Department when this tragedy occurred in 1981, I am nevertheless a parent who can only imagine the pain the Walshes have endured through the years without the satisfaction of closure of this investigation. It is inherently my responsibility on behalf of this police agency to express my remorse to the Walshes and indicate to them the emphasis we have placed on this continuing investigation regardless of the initial investigative difficulties. Having analyzed and reviewed the Adam Walsh investigative file several times during the last year, I had the opportunity to meet retired Miami Beach homicide detective Joe Matthews, who sits back here to the left, who has been involved in this case since the inception and who had conducted an independent review and investigation of this case. Consistent with the opinions of investigators past and present, I agree with the ultimate conclusion of this independent investigation that Otis Toole was the perpetrator of this crime. With the acknowledgement that our investigation placed Otis Toole in Hollywood, Florida, at or near the time of Adam's abduction, along with the multiple confessions countered by several subsequent recantations, our agency has devoted an inordinate amount of time seeking leads to other potential perpetrators rather than emphasizing Otis Toole as our primary suspect. One common denominator remains following an additional 12 years of investigating leads and interviewing potential witnesses after the court-ordered disclosure of the investigative files, that the pedophile and convicted murderer, Otis Toole, has continued to be our only real suspect. As we know, Otis Toole is deceased, and formal legal action is not possible, nor is it something that the Walsh family is seeking. However, in the interest of justice, the Hollywood Police Department is announcing today that it is our determination and conclusion that Otis Toole was the abductor and murderer of Adam Walsh. This conclusion is one that is based on a vast amount of circumstantial evidence. Therefore, it is my decision as Chief of the City of Hollywood Police Department, and consult with investigators, past and present, to exceptionally clear this investigation with the conclusion that if Otis Toole was alive today, he would be arrested for the abduction and murder of Adam Walsh on July 27, 1981. This decision is predicated upon thorough discussions with the Broward County State Attorney's Office, as well as the Walsh family. I sincerely hope that John and Rebecca Walsh realize some closure with this decision. Thank you. That's my statement.
John Walsh, who is Adam's father, channeled his grief into advocacy work for crime victims. He was a founder in 1984 of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and in 1988 he became the host of America's Most Wanted, a show that has since helped law enforcement officials track down hundreds of fugitives. On July 27, 2005, 25 years after Adam went missing, the former President George W. Bush signed the Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act into law, which created a national database of convicted child sex offenders, strengthened federal penalties for crimes against children, and provided funding and training for law enforcement to fight crimes involving the sexual exploitation of children via the internet.